well. Is it going?
It's going. All right. Put these back. Good. Hey, everybody. How's it going? Thanks for tuning into the HD podcast. This is Hunter and Danny. Bringing it to you from the crib once again. Not a lot going on tonight, so we figured we'd bring you another episode, kind of bring back the heat or keep it rolling a little bit. We'll change up the topic a little bit this time. I know everything we've been going over is a lot of business based and it has everything to do with money and so forth. But what have you been up to, man?
Same old, same old. Pretty good productive week at work.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't complain. Good week. Just trying to keep it going, keep the momentum going, keep it consistent.
Solid. Yes.
How's life been, man? I know we talk about work all the time. Anything cool outside of work that's going on?
So tonight, my fiance is at a conference at church. It's called the She Conference. It's Bayside Community Church. That's the church we go to. Both of us go to. Danny just started going there. What's your thoughts so far?
Good environment, great people. I'm not new to the church game, but I definitely stepped away from it for a while.
Yeah.
And I've been making it a conscious effort to stay consistent with it and, be there every week, no matter what.
So the first time you went to the church, what was it? Like last year this time? Was it men's night? Whenever Derek Brooks?
I think it was I think it was early. I think it was this year, right?
That was last year.
Was it?
Yeah, it was.
No way.
It was October last year.
That felt like, I thought that was this year.
Zoomed by, right? Crazy.
Zoomed by, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, the collective every the first of Sunday is pretty cool. Looking forward to that one.
Yeah.
When's that one coming up?
Yeah, so the collective is a young
Couple
adults event at Bayside. Basically, it's just for young adults, and so nice get together. They have it once a month. If you're in the Bradenton, Sarasota, Lakewood Ranch, Palmetto, whatever, that whole area, go check it out. Check it out. The next one coming up, I think, is October 5th. It's the first Sunday of the month. So shout out to Bayside Collective. But yeah, my fiance's there tonight. So kind of opened up the
boys' night.
The night, yeah, boys' night watching Palmetto High blow out Largo.
You dropped that pick right there. Watch.
Oh man,
come on, dude, right in the chest.
Gosh, but yeah, so I just figured, hey, what up, Danny? What are you doing tonight? Figured we shoot the podcast. Had some other stuff planned, but didn't feel like driving. Weather's been kind of crappy. I had a thing to go to in Orlando, but just kind of decided, hey, I'm going to blow that off and get to business. Because here we go. We're talking business. Nah, not this week. We'll get into it a little bit.
Life's business. So we'll dabble in pieces of both worlds. But, so, I mean, what do you got going on? What do you want to start us off with?
I mean, something that I've been looking at. I haven't been too busy at work. I'm like in a transition phase right now. Oh. What was that? Did you hear
a little remix?
That was wild.
Remix.
Oh, shoot. But no, I haven't been too busy at work. I've been in a transition phase, so I've been just like reading stuff and kind of refreshing my mind a little bit.
What are you reading on? What are you catching up on?
All kinds of stuff, man. Sports related. I guess we can tap into sports. I mean, recently, the huge buzz has been around Antonio Brown.
I saw that.
Dude, he just got released today. So today is Friday. He just got released today. So after all the hoopla going on with the Raiders and all kind of nonsense, whatever, dude finally gets released. And I didn't really have a huge opinion on that, just because the fact that this guy put himself in this situation. Like people try to credit him and say he's done this and done that or whatever, but after so long, dude, like, just stop being such a head case. Like, this guy is causing so much distraction. Like, you look at the difference between, like, him and Julio Jones, both top-notch receivers, both almost face of whatever franchise they go to besides the quarterback. And you got, like, two totally different ways that they go about themselves. And him, for instance, I mean, I get it. Everyone in the NFL now, and this is what I've been reading a lot on, is like the NFL now is starting to look like the NBA, where players are starting to request trades. Like Jalen Ramsey just requested a trade, but players are starting to like request trades.
Yeah, it's weird. That doesn't happen in baseball.
No,
as much.
It's impossible.
It is more of a basketball thing, and I mean, I haven't followed basketball my whole life. Did it kind of start with LeBron making, or did it happen or was that a thing way before LeBron's time?
I mean,
Guys, I know LeBron's trade, his move to Miami was freaking huge.
yeah, that was the first of its kind for sure. Anytime a superstar kind of went and teamed up with other superstars in basketball, that was your first thing, because before then you had your Kobe's, you had your Michael Jordans with the Bulls, you had those two in particular. I mean, the same two names you hear, but usually everybody stuck together as a unit for their entire career. So he was the first one that kind of had something going for him and decided to kind of switch it up midway through, I guess you could say, his career, or early into his career. And it was one of the best decisions he ever made. So now across the whole NBA, it's like everybody's teaming up, dude. You got Jimmy Butler and all those guys that were teaming up in Philadelphia. You got Kawhi and Paul George teaming up in LA. You got the whole conglomerate that just teamed up in Houston with Russell Westbrook again, teaming up with Harden.
I saw that.
Westbrook and Harden round 2 should be a pretty good deal going there. But back to the NFL, this whole request and trade thing and all that has just been something like new that the NFL has never really seen before. As far as like people requesting a trade, so
it's gotta be like awkward, from a teammate's perspective. I'm thinking of back when we were athletes.
Yeah,
that's gotta be like kind of awkward still playing with the guys with your team and knowing that everyone else knows you don't want to be there anymore.
Yeah,
right?
I definitely put myself in the shoes of the teammates as well whenever I look at this stuff, because yeah, I mean, it's like in our world, it was like somebody is transferring to a rival, like no matter where you go. So I couldn't do that. I mean, imagine like when we were in school, it was like someone transferring to Manatee or Sarasota. Like it's why you all you ask yourself why, and was the relationship genuine up to that point? So like, were they like 1 foot in, 1 foot out this whole entire time? You know what I mean? But I guess you live and you learn. You transfer, you change your mind. People do what they got to do.
So in correlation to our topic for tonight, is that due to a lack of communication?
Yeah. I mean, lack of communication is huge, because nowadays in this society, people want to feel appreciated no matter what they do. So if you're not if you're a coach and you have a star player, or a teammate and you have a star teammate, and for some reason they're not feeling appreciated, then they're going to start looking elsewhere, because they want that affirmation. Like you look at Odell Beckham, he was sick of getting no targets from who was it? Eli Manning with the Giants, and all of a sudden he decides to go to Cleveland, team up with his boys. So now Jarvis Landry, Odell Beckham, all them, they're on the Browns forming this super team. So it's like, it's just weird. But yeah, if you're not communicating with the players as the coach, if the coach isn't leading by example, then the whole place is going to just crumble. I actually had some notes on that in particular. just on leadership.
Let
But
me talk about this. Communication is a touchy topic.
And I've talked to you a lot about this.
yeah.
So growing up, I was moving schools a lot,
Yeah.
and
So let's
I
get
was-
into
I was
that
a
a little
pre-
bit.
what was
Where'd
that?
you start school?
So I was born and raised, and I was born in Bradenton, raised in pretty much the parish area. So I went to for the locals, I went to like the Williams Elementaries, the Buffalo Creek, and then
Yeah.
I moved to Mexico when I was 9 years old, not knowing Spanish. Moved over there, and I moved to Texas 2 years later.
So you
in
moved
Texas.
from the place you grew up here in Bradenton or Palmetto. You moved straight to Mexico.
Yeah, Monterrey, Mexico. I moved there. Long story, but moved there with my dad, my brother, and my sister after my parents split up, and really went to the country not knowing Spanish too well. Went to a
Wow.
private school
I
that
mean,
was half English, half Spanish. So,
I wouldn't know what to do going to Mexico.
dude, I was I was such a hyper kid growing up. I was a kid that was always talking a lot
Oh,
and kind of
yeah.
getting in trouble talking a lot.
Yeah.
And when that happens, when you're switching schools all the time, I
Yeah.
shut my mouth, man, and it really changed my
You
personality.
went from the hyper loud kid to the introvert quiet kid that is just shy in
I
school.
was just always uncomfortable. I was just always.
Did you get bullied
kinda-
or?
No, I mean, in Mexico, I didn't know the language.
Yeah.
So like, and every once in a while, I would say something, and I would kind of get a remark because I didn't know
Yeah.
the language. Cause I mean, I didn't get bullied. Maybe I got like picked on once or twice because
Yeah.
I didn't know the language. But just going from, I transferred a couple of times in schools in Mexico too. So I was always I was kind of transferring schools, and never like after fourth grade, I never had a group of friends I had more than like 2 years.
Wow.
So it was always transferring. And when you're doing that, I just learned to really like focus on baseball, practicing, and schoolwork. That's all I did.
That was it.
So school,
Clockwork.
after that, practice, and then homework, and that's it. Repeat your day.
Man.
I wasn't really going out and learning some of the social skills, I guess,
Yeah.
or some of this extra stuff that.
Well, because
a
people
lot-
were
most
talking
middle
in
kids-
Spanish.
well, yeah, also in Texas too. In Texas
Yeah.
too.
Yeah.
I should,
right.
those kids knew each other from, since they were in elementary school, first, kindergarten, and now we're in middle school, and I don't know any of them. So those kids again, they grew up, in Texas. You can't school choice. Where you live is where you kind of go to school.
Regardless, that's because
So
there's
these-
so many people there. Like, what are you
So
gonna
all
do?
these kids who are, they just keep growing up with each other because they're not moving. Same school, same everything. So hard for me to kind of fit in with a group of kids because they've known each other since they were kids.
Yeah. So you're always the new kid on the block whenever you went to school.
Yeah, and it was tough. And again, I was really focused on baseball and school, which helped me now because my freshman year I made varsity as a freshman, which is kind of in Texas, which was it's really hard to do. It's
But
really hard to
being with
do.
that said, how you were saying that you didn't really meet a lot of friends, your teammates were always your friends. So as you were playing, it was never like that on a team. You know what I mean?
So it wasn't because when I was moving, I also had to move teams. That's kind of the thing too.
Right.
Everything switched.
Yeah.
So, really, I'm super IQ. I'm a smart dude.
Yeah.
Really IQ, and high. I guess just kind of being blunt, high EQ guy. Sometimes my biggest problem right now is sometimes reading people a little better.
Oh,
That's what my sometimes I don't know sometimes what to look at, what to read, what certain things mean. And I know I'm kind of learning it late just because again, I didn't really have that growing up because I didn't really focus on it.
Whoa.
But yeah, that's kind of my thing. That's kind of that's kind of weird. I don't know if they can hear that, but that's kind of my story. That's kind of why I am the way I am. Again, pros and cons. Pros out of that. Really strong work ethic. Really know how to put my head down and work. Cons,
You had no
I
choice.
I do need to work on
Bouncing around schools.
and that's just from the more conversations you have. I try to have a lot of conversations when I'm networking. I actually went to a couple of networking events. So I'm going to talk to you about later on. One in Bradenton.
All for it. All
Yeah.
for it. First point, you can get right into communication. But nonverbal communication. That's one of I have five kind of ways of
Sure.
communication in business or in life, whatever, however you want to communicate, because one thing that we learn at church, but one thing that I've learned just off experience and seeing my fiance's story and her experience, um, whenever you're in a community, whenever you're with friends or have someone to share with, it's better. So sharing is better. So communicating is better. But we live in a world where everybody's just stuck in their own cubicle of life, and they don't want to express whatever they're dealing with. So communication is huge. Just with communicating, even people that are friends close to you, and like us, we can talk about whatever. I'm not saying talk to everyone about your problems. Sometimes you see people vent on
Yeah, of
Facebook
course.
because they have nobody to talk about or nobody to talk to. But yeah, this first one, nonverbal communication. People say a lot without uttering a word, a facial expression, or a quirk. Body language can communicate attitude and interest better than words can. I mean, that's huge. Gestures, eye contact, tone of voice, posture, breathing, other factors
People don't
contribute.
realize how important that is and what people are reading off you
Yeah.
due to your body language.
Yeah, nonverbal communication. I mean, somebody walks in and if you can read that from a sales perspective. I mean, we'll get into this a little bit, but from a sales perspective, when somebody comes in, it's important to not mock, but I guess mimic what expression they're giving. Someone comes in high energy, you have to mimic that high
You gotta
energy.
mirror them. That's the word.
Yeah,
Mirror.
yeah, mirror. You gotta mirror their high energy. They come down low, soft spoken. Like somebody comes in, hello. I just saw your sign out by the road. And you come in, hey, how's it going? Thanks for come on, patting them on the back. Boo. Like
Yeah.
so. Some salespeople that don't know how to communicate with nonverbal signals. I mean, that's a drastic point, but you got to kind of weed in the details on those. And
So let me ask you this, because this is a question I tend to have.
mm-hmm.
I do believe in mirroring,
Yeah,
but I also believe that I believe that sales is a transfer of emotion.
yeah, absolutely.
So where do you find the balance? Because someone who's quiet, you're not gonna transfer the emotion being quiet.
The balance, the balance that I've been able to find with no matter what I'm reading off the person is eye contact. If I'm making eye contact with them, it doesn't matter whatever their body language is doing or anything. When you have someone's eye contact, their vision, that's what they're focusing on. So that's a huge thing. Whenever someone comes through the door, starts talking to you, or whoever you're having a conversation with, eye contact, because that's huge. Whenever you're talking to anybody, I mean, you go anywhere, everybody's down, looking at the ground, looking at the ceiling, looking at their phone. Eye contact, huge. I mean, you don't have a girlfriend, but when you do, she's going to want you to look at her. She's going to want you to talk to her and make eye contact with her rather than having your head down, not paying attention to her. Just the way it is. People in a relationship know what I'm talking about. But yeah, nonverbal communication. Don't take it in a way that you have to like physically mirror. It's just an energy. It's just an energy of nonverbal communication where someone kind of crosses their arms and starts slouching. You kind of sit back and relax. It's just subtle things. Nonverbal communication. I mean, don't get stuck on that. We got plenty more to look into. But next one I'll go to is listening. Huge with your job. You have to listen. It's literally the only thing you have to do is listen. So you want to touch on listening a little bit? I mean, not so much in your job, but how have you been able to start to listen to certain things and feel certain energies just by listening?
So I think the biggest problem why people don't listen is because they want to talk, interrupt someone.
Yeah.
So a good little trick I use is waiting 2 to 3 seconds after someone speaks, because if you give them a second or two, they might just pause and keep talking.
Yeah.
You don't want to interrupt them when they're doing that.
Yeah.
So you want to have them say their sentence, listen, active listening, Don't think about what you're going to say. Listen to what they're saying and take it in. And then wait 3 seconds. And then respond.
Actually take in what they're saying. So
Yeah, that way they know that, oh, this guy's
Yeah.
listening to me.
Yeah.
It's subconsciously, because again, the biggest, and I had this problem too sometimes, is interrupting people, is really wanting to get something out
yeah.
instead of just letting them vent a little bit and just listen. You know, it's not some kind of sales trick. It's just a
Yeah.
it's just a communication thing.
Yeah.
It's
I got you.
listening, waiting,
Relaxing.
responding.
Yeah, no, that's the way that I've been able to do it is relaxing through the communication, because whenever you're relaxing your mind, you're listening, because if you have a quick point to get across, whatever they're saying, you're not going to listen to, because you automatically have to jump out, interject whatever they're saying. I mean, you and I doing this, we have to listen to one another. So that's a form of communication. That's something that you learn in grade school, high school, whatever. Teachers always want you to listen. Da, da, da. Listen. You don't learn nonverbal communication in school. You don't really learn that. You teachers don't teach you body language. They say, "Well, why are you upset?" But you're not taught nonverbal communication. But listening, everybody's taught to listen. This next one that I got is collaboration. We've all done a group project. We've all learned how to work with others. That's huge in life. If you can learn to realize other people's strengths and use those and have them teach you what to do by collaborating, I feel like that's an important communication skill, is collaborating. Because if you say are in a situation where you're working with somebody you don't like, 9 times out of 10 in today's society, you're going to run into someone you don't like to work with. I mean, in your office, I know there's at least one person you don't like to work with. You know what I mean? So if you can learn just to cope with all sorts of creators, but everyone's a creator. Everyone in the world is a creator. Everyone is a person. If you can learn to feed off of other people's energy and channel that and not get triggered, by certain people or certain types of people, I think that's huge. Being able to collaborate. I guess you can go.
Where does first impressions come in? Is that a topic coming up, or can we talk about that now?
Yeah, no, talk about what do you got? First impressions.
Dude, how important is a good first impression? It means the world.
Extremely important.
I think it's both in business and, like, for example, like maybe looking at a pretty girl in the bar.
Yeah.
Maybe after you give a look or twice, you want to, whether again it be in person in a business setting,
Yeah.
or where I'm just talking about, you want to go up and introduce yourself, show confidence. And again, show who you are.
Hey, honey, how you
if
doing?
you don't tell the dude, I told this. I think we talked about this 2 podcasts ago.
Yeah.
If you don't tell the world who you are or someone who you are,
Yeah.
they're gonna make their own judgment off you.
That's it. So that first impression, that initial out the gate.
It's a good way
Whatever
to
they
tell
see.
you or tell
Yeah,
them exactly. Hey, this is who I am.
Yeah. This is it.
Both verbally with the words you say and non-verbally with your body language and with your actions.
Absolutely. Man, that's
Easier said than done, obviously.
that's huge in sales. But when you're meeting someone, say you are once again on your phone. Once again, you're meeting someone that, I don't know. You never know who you're going to meet. So I always, wherever I'm at, dude, one thing I've been doing is having a conversation with someone that's older. So, for instance, when I'm at the gym playing basketball the other day, I was talking to this guy. It was 9/11, actually. So on 9/11, I did 110 flights of stairs on the Stairmaster, and in remembrance, And then I went to the basketball court, and I was just shooting at the gym, and then this old guy pulls up. I mean, typical old dude. He's got a cut off shorts, nice guy, and then he starts talking, and I could tell this dude's from New York, and that's nonverbal communication. when you could tell, hey, where you from? Hey, where you from? New York, Tommy. Hey, or hey, Susie from Philadelphia. How you doing? So I instantly knew this guy. He's from New York City, and I was like, oh, what's up, man? He's like, oh, how you doing? How you doing? But no, his name was Rocco or something, New York.
Rocco.
Yeah, hey Rocco. But no,
Yeah.
really, really nice guy. But he actually was working in the city the day of 9/11. He was working 4 blocks away from the towers. And, dude, first thing I did, I was like, whoa, this is 9/11. I'm literally meeting with not like a 9/11 survivor, but a guy who had his boots on the ground that day. If I was on my phone, listening to music, had earpods in, and was just like doing my thing, I never would have met this guy. But I talked to him for like 35 minutes, just talking about like his experience during 9/11, what the city was like, what the next couple days were like. I basically interviewed the guy, and learned so much just by sitting down and kind of taking a deep breath and taking a step back and talking to somebody. 'Cause it's just rare. That's something that I've learned to implement. So if we go off first impressions, his first impression of me is everything. If I don't say, hello, how's it going, shake his hand, if I just say, hey, what's up, man, how you doing, keep shooting, that's how you can learn to communicate with people. If you can just, I don't know, everybody's different. Everybody has their own little thing about them.
You stand out when you do that kind of stuff. No one's really doing that. You really stand out when you
Yeah.
go
I
out
mean,
of
be
your
your-
way maybe and
We promote be yourself. Don't be anybody that
Yeah.
you're not. But if you are loud, if you are that person that brings the energy, then bring the energy. But just know your role. And that's huge. I went to this leadership meeting, and we were talking about kind of, let me see the notes if I can pull it up, clarifying the roles on your team. So say you have a team, the more you can clarify the roles, the more that people feel empowered to do it. So if you're the guy that brings the energy, know your role, bring the energy. If you're the guy that keeps everybody in line, make sure that their clothes are lined up, their shoes are tied, their name tags are on, then that's your role. That's clarifying roles as a leader. We'll get into that a whole lot more. But if you know your role, be that person, but don't just be yourself, but know that the tools that we're talking about with communication, they apply to everybody, no matter if you are the guy that brings the energy or you're the quiet introvert. You got to learn to have nonverbal communication. You have to learn to listen. And what was the last one? You have to learn, where are we at? Yeah. You have to learn collaboration. That was it. Slipped my mind for a second. But fourth one I got, we did 3 so far. Fourth one I got, public speaking. I know you've been going to that Toastmasters thing.
Yeah, I've done it before. I've done some public speaking in front of small. I've done probably like 3 or 4 events.
Yeah.
Doing public speaking in front of groups.
What's that been
I
like?
want to do it more. It's kind of nerve wracking.
Yeah.
Man, doing my social media videos have helped quite a bit
Yeah.
in public speaking.
Just talking to the camera.
Yeah, because it's the same exact thing. I do want to do it more because it is, man. If you can do public speaking, hey, it's not like the biggest fear, but second after death, or more people fear public speaking than death, or something like
I got
that.
that right here. 2 biggest
Yeah,
fears are
facts.
associated with public speaking. It's the biggest fear of your speech or whatever you're talking about going off the rails. That's basically one of the biggest fears in the world.
I mean, some people, they struggle with the one-on-one communication. Imagine speaking
Yeah.
in front of 15, 20, 50, 100,
That's
1,000
it.
people.
And no matter who you are, at some point in your life, you're going to have to public speak. I remember in our thinking skills class, talking back to that, we used to have those debates, and that was just in front of your class, in front of colleagues, whatever. Dude, I remember my fiance. We were in the same class together. She had to debate.
I think I was in your. Was I in your class?
I don't remember.
Endurance?
I don't know if we were in the same class. I don't think we were in the same class, but it was the same year. I think we were taking the class. But I remember, dude. She had we had our debates, and you'd like pick out who you were debating. It was like random, and that's wild. But so she had to debate this kid, and I remember he was an energy guy. He was like intimidating.
Who
bro.
was it? Do you remember?
Should I say James Papich? I don't know if you remember this kid, James Papich. You probably
The
don't
name
remember.
sounds very familiar, but I don't really.
Low-key
remember.
guy. There's no way he's listening right now. No way. But this guy, bro, he was. So I remember Durance. He knew that Rachel and I were dating, and all of a sudden, she's called up to go debate this guy, and she's super introvert. Like, no way. She barely talks
Yeah.
to me. How the heck is she gonna talk to a class? So all of a sudden she gets called out to do this debate, and all of a sudden she starts shaking her head no, like in front of the class, like, no, I don't want to do it. I don't want to do it. And we were juniors at the time. Everybody in the class is pretty much seniors, and so I'm in there. So like, who am I, the boyfriend? Who I was like, I'll do it. And I was like, Mr. D, is that all right? Like, if I do it, like if I do the debate for her, and he's like, yeah, go ahead. He's like, and then he got mad at Rach. He's like, if you were in any other class, I would have forced you to go up there and do that. So you're lucky Hunter's here. But so I went up there, and I didn't know what the topic was. I just went up there and debated the kid. I just remember he said something because he did his research. He was a researcher guy. Like, I don't know where he got his stuff from, but he just killed me on like every topic because there's no way I was researching a topic to debate. Like, dude, I'm just gonna go and I'm gonna show and go. That's it. But this guy, he was like hitting his points, doing all this thing, and everybody in the class was like, oh, like, oh. And then he said like some like dagger at the end. I wish I remembered it, dude, because it was just like, oh, and then everybody would vote. But that was in high school. I don't even know if they have stuff like that. I mean, like debate team or
I wish I
whatever.
would have done that. I wish I would have done that more.
Yeah.
Looking back
Well,
at
when
it.
you're in high school, you're always trying to be the cool kid. You're always trying to be like the buddy that just like chills back on his phone in the corner with the hoodie on, eating food out of his backpack. That's who everybody. That's the I don't know whatever you call it. That's who everybody wants to be. Is that chill
Yeah, I
dude
know what
that
you
just
mean.
like, what up? Nobody wants to be like, hey, let's debate. Let's talk about this. And I know like people like Ben Shapiro and politics. That's definitely brought in a whole new realm to like, I guess you can say high school, because he wasn't really that big whenever we were in high school. Like any of that stuff, it was really around like that Trump Hillary time, whenever debating and stuff like that really picked up. So I'm not sure if they changed stuff after we left, but having that public speaking, even in front of a classroom and presenting a thing in front of a meeting, that stuff's huge. I mean, whenever I have sales meetings and I got to go up and speak, I'm speaking to like 20, 30 people that are all way older than me, and I'm talking about things that they're dealing with. So it's like, who's going to take advice from the young kid, But that's part, as I progress, as I try to work into a leadership role, those are things that I got to overcome, and I don't have a problem with it at all. Like talking to older people. Whenever I was selling Social Zoom, the marketing thing, dude, I'd walk in, I'd door knock a business, go up and tell this business owner that has their heart and soul invested into a business, hey, I don't know how you're doing. I don't know what I don't know if you know anything about me. Here's a quick one-pager about myself and my company. So let me do your marketing for you. Whoa, like, dude, talk about somebody looking at you like you're crazy. One time, bro, I went into, it was like a gynecologist or something. And I was like, hey, can I speak to the manager? Because that was the first thing I would always go. I went in and I spoke to like the office manager at the gynecologist. Dude, that was like, I was an 18-year-old kid, had nothing, like no degree, just like selling a product that I believed in. And I remember the office manager came out and like looked at me and like, what the heck is this? And I talked with him about just like random stuff. But I remember at that moment, whenever I met with that lady, she was like, I respect what you're doing, but you got a long way to go. Like that's the vibe I got. So I was like, man, I don't know what I'm gonna do, and this is me driving my car to strip malls to sell a marketing package that
Yeah.
I put together in my living room for realtors and small business owners. Like, dude, wild. And it's huge now. I mean, if I would have stuck with it again,
Yeah, 'cause
and
we actually got in pretty early compared to
dude,
compared to now.
we'd be. I mean, the after I got with Coldwell Banker, I was gonna join in with another guy because he basically saw that I did that right when I got into real estate. And me and him were like, we had a bunch of meetings for it. We were about to partner up and go through with it, but it just took up so much time. It's a full-time gig, doing that, selling that package. But man, I could do it. Just give me your credit card and see the leads fly in. I got the numbers, But last one, written communication. Something that's really someone that is in college and they don't really, I don't know.
Copywriting's a big thing now.
Copywriting, but the way that I was kind of going is using your email, because that's a huge thing that I learned is, dude, if you get into business with anyone and don't know how to write a sophisticated email, like, dude, you better learn. Like, nobody taught me to write an email. I don't know what
Yeah, I mean, even when I first got into the business with insurance, I mean, when it came down to writing emails,
yeah.
I was like, what the heck am I supposed to say? Like,
Yeah. How do you write an email?
yeah,
Like, do you
how
talk
do you
to
write
them
an
like a text
email?
message, or because I'll be writing someone an email and I'll talk to them a certain way, or yeah, when I'm writing an email, and then I'll send them a text message like a just totally different. I do it with my manager, but me and him were cool. But like, he'll be like, "Hey, send me an email," so I'll be like, "Okay, sounds good." Well, according to space, whatever, So communication through email is a tool that not only you have to use. I mean, no matter, I've known a lot for like my wedding, dude. Like, you gotta email everybody, and if you don't know how to write email, like if you got like Domingo Ayala used to say, bro, hey, what's your email? Latina Hottie at gmail.com. If you got some email like Latina Hottie at Latina Hottie at gmail.com, So get an email, just your first last name business at gmail.com, and be done with it. Get rid of that elementary, middle, high school email, whatever. Whenever you made your first email, go Buccaneers 10 at Gmail. Hey, put that on your resume,
Yeah, so many callbacks you get with that.
Oh man.
So, what do you think is the biggest thing that young professionals lack in communication?
Young professionals, so specifically young.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
Within communication, when you're communicating with others, young professionals don't know how to set the tone. They let the old person set the tone. So whoever you're talking with, whether especially for a sale or for just trying to get a vibe, trying to read somebody, if you're a young professional, you got to set the tone early. Not that you're in control, but that you know what you're talking about. If you don't know what you're talking about, then that's your fault. But you got to set the tone early. That way, those people know what to expect, and they can't just walk all over you and say whatever they want, however they want. Because you'll see that a lot, especially in my business. I mean, I'm constantly dealing with people that are just like so abrasive to me, dude. They treat me like I'm nothing, and I'm fine with it. Like, I don't.
Why? Because of your age?
Yeah. Oh yeah, 100%. I mean, these people are 40, 50 years old, 60, 70, however, and they got a 20-year-old being stern with them, like their grandkid, telling them, "Sorry, you're not getting your deposit back." Sorry you gave me your deposit, but hey. So I think that's something that I've learned to grasp, is to set the tone. And it doesn't matter my age. Like, dude, since I've been working with the company, I probably asked my age 3 times, and every time they're like, "Oh wow, we thought you were older." Well, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. But that's one thing that young professionals lack when communicating is setting the tone, because they go into a conversation not confident. And if you can have that confidence to be like, yeah, I run the show, but not tell the person you run the show, but just kind of hold your ground, because you got to row your boat. You got to keep it going, man. Yeah. But no, man, looks like P High's at halftime, and they're running the show there.
44 zip, I think it was.
Yeah. But I wanted to ask what you thought about the Texas flood. You saw that?
I just heard about it because we have a couple of agents
Yeah.
from our region that live in that area, and yeah, I mean they were in.
Wild, bro.
Is that from what? Just rain? Is that from was
Yeah.
there a hurricane that I don't really know like how that occurred?
Tropical storm Imelda. She
Houston area, Dallas.
yeah,
area?
right over top of it, dude. Like roads, bridges, all that stuff's flooded, messed up. I mean, look at the news. You'll see it all over.
Man, that's happened in Texas a few times now. That's not the first time.
Yeah. What whenever you were in Texas, what can you say was different than when you were in Florida? Like from an environmental standpoint. Not saying like the heat. We know both of them are hot, but did you ever think of a hurricane or anything like that?
I lived in South Texas. It wasn't humid. It was a little drier.
Yeah.
A lot of wind. But it wasn't humid. There was no 8 in the morning, a bunch of what do you call it stuff on your grass?
Dew?
Yeah, dew.
Yeah.
None of really that. It just wasn't humid in the mornings.
I got you.
Throughout the day. So that was the biggest thing.
Nice.
Where the tropical storm hit, it's probably like 7 hours north of me.
Yeah. I mean, I
So,
know
a
Houston
little
area is definitely far from when you were at. You were like right at the pick. You basically lived in Mexico. Like just going back. Did you go to school at the border or you played on the other side of the border?
Played on the other side of the border.
Played on the other side. That's what it was. So yeah, that's
Yeah, that's a story in itself.
yeah, that's a whole different.
That's for another time.
That's a that's a whole story in itself. But yeah, man, that based on communication, those are the main things that I want to hit on. You got your 5 effective business communication skills. You got collaboration, public speaking, listening, nonverbal communication, and then written communication. Those are your 5 communication skills. Based off the topic for this video, communication skills. Huge thing in business and in life. I know we didn't get into it as deep as you could, but if you have any suggestions or anything, shoot me a DM, shoot me an email, shoot me whatever you want. And,
Make sure it's well written.
Yeah, and we could talk about communicating. We communicate on communicating. But yeah, man, what do you got coming up? Anything in particular?
Nothing special. Just trying to get better every single day. That's all you can really do.
Get
Is
better every
set your
single day.
routine. Work harder than you did yesterday. Try to work harder than you did yesterday, and keep going.
Where'd you get that shirt?
I think my little brother gave it to me. Link in bio.
If you can't see, it says link in bio. So
No, dude, I'm just really looking forward to. I know we keep talking about this. I'm just looking forward to watching this video like 5 years down the road.
Yeah.
And just laugh at it and just think about, dude, that's how I was 5 years ago. That's what we were talking about 5 years ago. I don't know. That's the whole reason we do this podcast. It's more of a documentary, recording our journey.
That's it.
Yeah, man. Just looking forward to, in the future, see how 22-year-old Danny was thinking and how it's changed. And
Newly
what
22
happened.
years old.
Newly, yeah.
Just a few weeks ago, but
Yeah, let's forget about that one.
yeah, let's just forget about that one. Oh, well, thanks for watching, guys. Have a good rest of your week or whenever this is uploaded. Have a good day and just stay on the straight and narrow and tunnel vision all the time. and just know sky's the limit.
Yeah, guys, thanks for joining the HD podcast with Danny and Hunter. Leave a comment below we would like to see some feedback, some more feedback, your opinions. What topics do you want to hear about? Whether you're our age, a little older, leave a comment below to see what you want to talk about. And we'll see you guys next time. You guys take care.
Peace out.